Hello everyone, so in today's video we are going to be creating a makeup look using the Colourpop Mint to Be palette, and this palette actually turned out to be one of my favorites. It's a palette that I've wanted to get for like a really long time and I just never got around to it until quite recently. And so to start off our makeup look, we are going to go in with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I swear by this primer. I worked with a girl at Ulta and she got me onto it and I just absolutely love it. And so I'm using my fingers just to rub the formula in, and that's just going to warm it up a little bit so that it sinks into your skin a little bit better, and it does have a sort of tacky consistency, so it's going to help your makeup stick. So the next step is to take our concealer. I'm using the Wet n Wild Incognito Concealer in the shade Fair, and I'm putting this over all the blemishes and red marks, and we're gonna let this dry before we put on our foundation. And so for our foundation, we're going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, the matte version in the shade Nude Ivory, and I'm just applying that right over to our face. Like I said, that concealer has dried. And then I'm taking the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water, and I'm just spraying that onto my beauty blender to sort of dampen it a bit. And then I'm going in and I'm just blending everything out. So I'm going back in with that concealer just on my eyes, and so I'm doing my under eyes to brighten them, and then I use concealer as a little bit of a primer for my eyeshadow. And now we are going in with the Colourpop No Filter Finishing Pressed Powder in the shade Fair, and I'm starting off with my under eyes just to make sure that I don't get any creases there, and then I'm just going to apply a little light layer around the rest of my face. The next step is to go in with an Ulta contour kit. My kit is ancient, I've had this since I was a child, but apparently they still sell it at Ulta, so that's iconic. And I'm going to be going in with the shade Bombshell Bronzer, and I'm applying that to my cheekbones, my chin, my nose, the little divots in my skull that are sort of like parallel with my eyebrows, and then my forehead. And then I'll also go in with a little bit of the shade Golden Bronzer and apply that to my cheekbones just to darken them up just a little bit. And now I'm going in with the Benefit Cosmetics Shelly Blush. This is the mini one, but it lasts forever. A woman that I worked with at Ulta actually got this for me. And so I start with the apples of my cheeks, and then I go all the way up to where it's level with the end of my eyes. And finally for the face, we are going to go in with the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek. It is a highlighter and it is in the shade Flexitarian. And it actually is a really cool formula because it's a cream to a powder. And now we're just sort of blending everything on our face to make sure that nothing has any harsh lines or any streaks on our face. And moving on to the actual palette, this is the Mint to Be palette. That's the outer packaging, and then this is the inner packaging. It's actually a little more green than it's showing up on camera, and this is my favorite part, to open it up for the first time and remove that little layer of styrofoam and then peel off that mirror cover. And I'm actually, look at my face, I'm so focused, but it's so satisfying. And so to start off, we are going to be going to the top left shade called Get Fresh, and I'm going to be applying that sort of in like a very wide semicircle above my crease. This is a pastel palette, so you're going to have to blend a lot. And then I'm also going to go ahead and apply that directly under my lower lash line just to sort of create a full coverage of that eyeshadow. And moving on, we're going to the shade Dement. It is on the middle right, and it is more of a darker green color, and we're going to be applying that again above our crease, but we're getting a little bit closer this time. So we're going to create a gradient with 3 colors, and so we're just darkening that up. And then finally, we're going in with the shade Chill Factor, and we're applying that directly to our crease. So we've created that gradient, like I said, and now we're really making sure that the crease of our eyes is very defined.
So
So the next step is going to be taking a Q-tip. I'm literally just licking it, but you wet a Q-tip and then you're gonna go ahead and remove all of the excess powder, whether it be fallout or just where your brush didn't stay exactly where you want it to, and remove all of the eyeshadow from your lid. This is going to be the first step to a cut crease, and so it's just making sure that everything is off of our eyelid. And then I'm taking my concealer again and a literal paintbrush, and I'm just putting some of that concealer on the paintbrush, and then I'm going to begin to carve out that cut crease. And so this is a little bit more of an advanced step. I find that if you take time and just go slow and go back and forth and make sure they're even, you don't really have a problem with it. But if this step is intimidating or you don't feel like doing it, you don't necessarily have to, but I would recommend doing at least the Q-tip step in order to make sure that those colors aren't going to be muddled. And so as you can see, I'm just going back and forth, and we're extending this concealer all the way till the end of where we put our eyeshadow. That way it really separates the top of the eyeshadow. And now I'm going in with my Colourpop No Filter Finishing Pressed Powder in the shade Fair again, and I'm using that to set that concealer to get a truly neutral shade. And then I'm just fixing it up as I go. And now we're moving back to that shade Chill Factor, and we're going to go ahead and apply it on our lower lash lines in the outer corner. And then we're going to take Dement and move it in the middle, and then finally Get Fresh that we used in the beginning and apply it right in the inner corner of our eyes to recreate that gradient on our lower lash line, just to add a little bit of definition. And now finally we're going to take the color Play It Cool. It is the top right color. It's this beautiful silver, very, very, very lightly green, and we're just applying it all to the lid. And now we're going to be taking the NYX Super Skinny Eye Marker in the shade Carbon Black and just do a simple wing liner. I prefer to make mine a little bold and dramatic, but obviously eyeliner is a personal preference, so do it how you see fit. And also from NYX, we're taking the retractable eyeliner in the shade Black and lining our waterlines, and then we are moving on to the lashes. We are taking the Kiss So Wispy lashes. They are in the style called Pompadour. I got these from Ulta, and I actually really, really like these. This was my first time using them, and they're super easy to use, and they look very nice. And to complete my eyes, I'm taking the L'Oreal Paris Voluminous Lash Paradise, that's a tongue twister, and applying it to my bottom lashes. This is not a required step, but I do find that I like the sort of doll-like look of the eyelashes. Moving on to our brows, we're taking the Colourpop brow pencil in the shade Dark Brown and just using that to define our brows. Now, I'm not the person you want to go to for brows, but I just like to make them a little bolder and a little, you know, more uniform. Then I'm spooling them into place, and then we will take the Colourpop Brow Boss Gel in the shade Soft Black and just further set those brows. And then finally for the lips, we are moving on to a Colourpop Luxe Lip Gloss. This is actually from their Zodiac collection. I could not tell you what the Zodiac is though. I apologize, but it is in the shade Dreamy Much. And so it's kind of pigmented. Right now my upper lip wasn't cooperating because I had foundation. I should have wiped it off, but it is obviously a very pretty color, and I like their glosses because they're not super sticky. And that is the completed makeup look. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.